again for another episode of Roofer Reflections, and I'm super excited because we got John Kenney here. Your experience in roofing is so vast. I really didn't know how to pull it together other than to say you live and breathe roofing.
That's a good way of putting it, that's for sure.
When did it start?
I have been around roofing in one format or another. The first roof that I actually worked on, I was 9 years old, and my job was to push the stone carts from the conveyor on the edge of the roof over to the crew that was actually putting the stone in the hot. When I got into high school, I worked every summer that I could, right? Every summer I worked, and I worked weekends, because then in the Northeast, you had your winter shutdown, so you went 7 days a week once the weather cleared up.
How did it progress from there?
I stayed with the family business till somewhere around 1990, and the original company that started in 22, my father and I decided to close that down. We went out and did our own thing under a different name. We actually went from Kenney Roofing to ATK Roofing. So we went into that. I did that up until probably the mid-90s to around mid-90s, 6 or so. So I closed that down, and I went out to work with a friend of mine who owned a roofing and carting business. So I worked with him a couple years, and then my wife and I decided it was time to come to Florida. We were looking to go to a bigger market and really expand. So I went into that. That's where I got into getting more into the away from being self-entrepreneurial, working for the bigger corporation and roofers.
You went from entrepreneurship, and then you went into, grow out an estimating department. Why estimating?
Running this job, it was a $2 or $3 million job in New Jersey. It was in the mid-'80s, which was a very large job for the day. Found out, get the job. I was a foreman running 2 union crews, one out of Philadelphia, one out of North. I start going through the plans on site, and we missed an 800 square building. So we went in, talked to my dad. I was working my dad's company, and his answer was well, you need to figure this out because this is a big problem. We managed to pick up enough labor throughout the rest of the entire job and cut down on waste that we were able to pick up the cost of that 800 square building. Now, granted, remember, it's a big job, so we could. And when we got done, we still brought the job in on the original budget with the missed 800 squares.
You progressed through estimating, and then you moved up to the GM and VP and stuff like that. Was this just a natural transition? I mean, were you looking to move up, or were they just promoting you up, or how did that all happen?
A little bit of both. The first company I was at got into around 2000 when I moved to Florida. They got involved in one of the roll-ups. They're not around anymore. But at that point, they were looking to move people up into positions that they just didn't have to fill. I was getting promoted beyond my skill levels. I was going to be put into positions that I've never done before. So first thing I did is I friended our HR person in this large company, and she put me on the path of management books to read, leadership books and all that. That's how I started absorbing it. Then it was my idea in my head saying, you know what, I want more. So
you've moved up the ranks, you're a COO, and then you move from there to more advisory roles going forward. What was the thought there?
That was probably my favorite position in the company. But you're really the right-hand person to whoever is either CEO or president or of the company. They need to be allowed to have the 40,000 foot view above you. Your job is to take all the rest of it away from them and make sure everybody is humming at 100 miles an hour where they should be.
When you're talking to people that are considering a career in roofing, what do you tell them?
I tell them that I raised my family, put all my kids through college. I lived the life I like to live, and all of that was due to working in the roofing industry. So how can you not love it?